Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing a deck tech of a 150 card deck. It is a Daniel deck. This deck is built around Daniel and it has a relatively small offensive footprint compared to maybe a more balanced deck. Like the ratio, I think maybe you have, it's definitely like in the ratio of at least 3-1, maybe even 4-1. But the idea is the reason you play Canaanites with Daniel is you can do a lot of things that give your opponents your Canaanites. So for example, Adoni-bezek, King of Tyrus, King of Abimelech, Jabin the Assembler, and Relatives Losel. But there's basically a lot of ways to give your opponents an evil Canaanite. And then the idea is you get to Daniel on your turn, and you attack with Daniel by himself and choose their Canaanite to block. And hopefully, maybe they're not running black. Against decks that aren't running black, that's just like a free attack. The best combo to do with Daniel is to put a Sisera, the commander, in their territory, attack with Daniel, and then play Water from the Lord. You're going to have initiative when Sisera chose to be a blocker, and then you can just do a CB and withdraw, and you can draw 3. The reason you want to do a withdraw is like you want to be able to do this next turn. So you withdraw their Sisera, so he's still around in their territory, and then you're able to choose him to block next turn. And now you don't have a lot of enhancements in this deck. So what happens if you don't? Well, you go Daniel, choose their guy as a blocker. It's mutual, and you're fine with letting Daniel die because you have Victorious Being, which can get Daniel back from your discard pile, or the Watchman. You can also get the Major Prophet Daniel back from your discard pile. And you also have Angel of the Winds that can go to get the Watchman. So basically, you have how many copies of Daniel? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13. 13 copies of Daniel in your deck, effectively. And you could also use relatives, put relatives in play, and grab another copy of Daniel from the reserve. Basically, Daniel's super resilient in this deck. Like, opponents can kill him, right? But he's just going to keep coming back. And here's a cool thing you can do with Daniel is turn him into a little card draw engine. How do you do that? So you do Daniel, and then you ban to a Daniel hero. So that happens first. So the ban happens. You can ban to Servants of the King. Servants of the King will come in. You can bounce a human. If you choose to bounce Servants of the King, that'll leave Daniel alone in battle, but you also get a draw 2. So Daniel becomes, if you combo Daniel with Servants and attack with Daniel, ban to Servants, bounce Servants, you get to do a Daniel attack, draw 2, and you get to choose the blocker, which is kind of bonkers, in my opinion. So each turn we're drawing 3 cards, or drawing +2 cards, choosing them as a blocker, and the cards we're drawing are mostly defense, and so it's going to make it really hard for the opponent to get through if we're drawing 4 or 5 defensive cards every turn. That's kind of like the idea. And then you have you don't have straight Canaanites. You do have some Philistines in there. You do have some Temple Guard shenanigans. Let's talk about the defense. You got the best Canaanite, Woman of Thebez. You get to play 3 copies of her, and you have a bunch of ways to get to her between Adoni-bezek, Deceiver, and Crafty Gibeonites. Really consistent. That's what I'm looking for in 150 card decks, is the consistency. And playing this many Canaanites that can search for other Canaanites opens up a whole toolbox. So if they're running hand protection, Basemath becomes a CBN bounce. If they're running Jeremiah, you can get Arba to give evil Canaanite to negate Jeremiah. Foreign Wives, a famous Canaanite. Concealed Canaanites, one of the best Canaanites in the deck, able to really tear apart people's territories, take their dominance, take their fortresses, take their artifacts. Jabin the Assembler has a cool combo. You can block with Jabin the Assembler, ban to Zebul the Fraud, draw 2, and then give Jabin the Assembler to the opponent to convert opponent's hero to a good brigade. So that's really good if there's a single hero attacking and you choose a color that they don't have. Although this is not as really effective against Jeremiah because he can, no matter what brigade he is, it sounds like he can play stuff in the reserve, which is crazy. And yeah, the Temple Guard combo. So the idea with Temple Guard is you pair Temple Guard with Tenants from the Sun or Wickedness of Jezebel, and you choose to play it because it's an evil banned ability. You choose to play it, you ban to either Philistine Armor Bearer or Goliath, and you want to have your Philistine Armor Bearer go get Goliath. And Goliath will come in, will negate the ban, so you have to put your Goliath back. And then it negates the play ability, so it puts Wickedness of Jezebel or Tenants Kill the Sun back in your hand. And then it does a withdraw. And so the opponent, they're having their banned abilities negated. They have to put a new hero in the battle. So usually that's only 1 hero. And then Tenants Kill the Sun come in, and the discard part on Tenants and Wickedness of Jezebel still happens. So you're able to discard their lone hero in battle. So normally this is like, if you play enhancement that discards their hero in battle, that's like pretty easy to negate. But because this is in your hand, they have to have something that targets this out of your hand. And there's not really anything that does that. So if they had a card that said negate an evil card, they couldn't do that. I don't know if they'd even be able to play a card that interrupts the battle. Because like, let's say you have a Reach of Desperation, you try to interrupt the battle and then draw 3 cards and play the next. Well, your draw and play abilities are negated. And I don't think people could use interrupt the battle and bounce. I don't think they could play that. I don't know for sure. But anyways, so that's the idea behind that combo. You also get to play 3 copies of Gibeonite Trickery because you're giving Canaanites to the opponent's territory often. This will become just a straight up win the battle or stalemate, which is also great. A couple of copies of Alexander's Destroyers because the ability to restrict good dominance is really, really strong. If they're attacking with a big banding chain and they're trying to rely on dominance to win the battle, you can just block with Alexander's Destroyers and play something that you know is going to get resolved, like Abandonment or Scattered Sheep. You got this card, 1,290 days. It may look weird in this deck, but the idea is it's a battle winner because you can negate the opponent's good card and then activate an idol from your deck. So you activate a bomb, and you can put people in special initiative by reserving this to discard their hero. Unless they have a way to negate artifacts within their enhancement, then this is going to take their hero out. And the fact that this cannot be prevented is really nice too. We also got some utility curses where people are going to be having Canaanites, and it's really nice to turn up an artifact that will negate their heroes. That's really nice. People are playing Nazareth. You have options to do Goliath's Curse to underdeck their fortress or just negate and discard good cards. It's like a solid card. You're not super excited about playing it, but it's definitely playable for sure. And then you have your Wages of Sin and your Clinging to Power, which can go get a bunch of different things in this deck. These are some of the funnest cards to play in 150 card decks. You're like, oh, what do I do? Let's see, is there anything else? You also have a Pride of Lions in the deck and 3 copies of Negev Lion in the reserve. And the idea is you can use your Clinging with Power to go grab it, or you can go Deceiver into Hazueris to get a surprise Pride of Lions combo off, and that'll force the opponent to discard a bunch of cards. Another main strategy of this deck is to get to an early Woman with Child. You have ways to do that. You can get her with Victorious Being or Angel of the Winds, but basically you attack on turn 1 and you try to get your Harvest Time, and then you have 22 Lost Souls in your deck. One of them's a Hopper, and you play Harvest Time for like 18, and you try to put 18 Lost Souls that are really annoying on the battlefield. So for example, imagine opponents trying to work through Color Guard plus Crowds plus Disoriented plus Distressed plus Stole plus Forgotten plus Forsaken plus Humble plus Relatives and Salty and Wicked. And you can turn that one Harvest Time into a lot of value over the course of the game if your neutrals aren't being negated. In addition, you have the opportunity to go Imitate each upkeep, and that can net you a evil card each turn, or it can grab you some handed knowledge. So that's another like powerful thing that this deck is capable of, and it's a reason why you'd want to play 150 cards. And for the dominance, we basically just have the best dominance in the game. We have a lot of battle-winning dominance on the defense, like Christian Martyr, Falling Away, Doubt, Forced Labor, Forces Arise, Murder's Command, Perplexing Vision, Vain Philosophy, Warrior Overtaken. Like, good luck fighting through all of that. And then just have some random offensive dominance like Grapes. They have Angel, Glory. And the cool thing about Grapes and Glory, you can use them on defense too. The reason we have Guardians in here is the clay matchup. If you get this card, it really helps your clay matchup. And you are playing Woman of Thebez, so there's some kind of tension there. But if you draw your Guardians and you're not fighting the clay matchup, like, you don't have to play it. Redemption's okay. It can get back your your Angel of the Winds and your Watchmans, and it can blow up stuff in their territory. You can also play a hand control type of game where you're looking at their hand, playing a character from their hand, and then using Daniel to choose that as a blocker. So if you're playing evil characters that don't have any synergy with your deck or you don't have any enhancements, Daniel's going to be able to sniff those out and exploit them. So that's kind of the big picture idea, and we're going to go straight into a game where we get to see how this deck does and if I can pilot it correctly. All right, so we won the die roll here, and we have a way to get to a Woman with Child early, which is nice. Generally, if you have a way to get to Woman with Child with this deck on turn 1 to do the Harvest Time play, that's generally, I think, the correct play to do, as opposed to like trying to get Daniel online. So opponent has a star ability that can be used to play a lost soul from my deck. So they get some deck knowledge, and they also get to put prosperity, so I can't use that. So here comes my turn. I don't have any stars, so I can just go straight into my battle. Gotta get that Woman with Child. Grabs any dominant out of my deck, and we can get the harvest time. So I'm doing some math, so I don't want to put my hunter or my one lost soul that gets something from the reserve. So I'm trying to keep those 2 lost souls in my deck. So let's see. I think I named it for like 18. So the downside of playing Harvest Time early is now you have to deal with the opponent's lost souls. Generally speaking, though, the amount of stuff they have to deal with is not as threatening as the amount of stuff you have to deal with. So it's still working out for you, but Harvest Time can be a little bit of a double-sided sword. And if they have a lost soul that is really annoying, you can use your Disoriented to negate it. So let's see. Over there, the opponent has an Imitate, a Crowds, and a Humble, and an Undesirables, and a Forsaken. So yeah, generally speaking, it's a decent threat of souls right now. But I think I would like to shut down their Imitate, because each turn they get to do an Imitate, and I only want me being able to do that. So there's all my lost souls. Now I got to figure out which ones I got to do when they enter play. So first things first, I'll do open hand to reveal their hand, and we see that there's some sort of clay deck. I have a blocker for me, the Woman of Thebez, and we get to do a Grumbled. We get to underdeck a card from her hand to draw a card, and we get to do a Shepherds to do that again, or Outcry to take a Philistine from our deck. If you're fighting a clay deck, getting a way to have Herdsman of Gerar just in case they draw a bunch is also very clutch. All right, so I think that was all the lost souls that triggered when we entered play, and then they block with Woman of Thebez, and because we're not running a lot of tools to deal with that, we're just fine letting them get the block like that. We got our long term. We're thinking about the long term, right? We don't care if we give up an early block or rescue early per se. We're just really concerned about the long game. And so opponent did a 4-drachma coin, and they drew 4 cards. And I think something I forgot to do was maybe to try and do a Philistine Armor Bearer to a Herdsman to draw 4 cards, 4 extra cards there. That would have been really sweet. Anyways, let's continue on here. So let's see if they're going to attack me with a Lazarus and convert that to Meek, and they play around my Humble. I wouldn't be able to get to Herdsman because Herdsman cannot be prevented by himself. So opponent is trying to get cards down out of their hand in order to turn off my Humble. So I think if I just play a card out of my hand, like as a blocker, or maybe even use relatives to bounce their Foreign Wives and give Zebul out of my hand, we'll definitely have hand disadvantage now. My Humble's going to work. But I think instead, do I decide to go Herdsman here or just Goliath? So I decided to go Goliath here, but Herdsman would have been much better, obviously, because I would have got to draw 4 cards. But this is nice too, because it works out. Opponent is, they put a big big hero in battle. They give me initiative, and I'm able to play a card that ends the battle in stalemate. And that works because I have a Humble. So already not playing optimally here. So during my upkeep, we're going to be using our Imitate Lost Soul to copy our Lawless, which will reveal the top 6 and let me take an evil card. So looking at my hand, I have some evil characters. It would be nice maybe to have another negate here. So I'll snap up that negate. Activate Fear Has Fallen. It's really good against Disciples, which don't really have any CBP modifiers. So I just have to worry about their Humble. And now I'm going to start to enact my game plan of attacking with a Daniel every turn and seeing how many answers the opponent has. So we're going to do our trick here where we bounce Servants of the King, and then we draw 2 with Daniel. And we got really lucky when we drew our Faith Unbowed, because now we're able to use it to interrupt the battle, undo their draw, and put Zebul back for choose the block next turn. And the reason Daniel's band is working through their Forsaken is because Daniel's CBP. So yeah, we feel like we're in a really good spot here. They have a Canaanite in their territory, turns on Concealed Canaanites, and have some Philistines, have Warrior Overtaken. So I'm trying to think about what's the scariest thing that I could be worried about right now. So they bounce their Lazarus. This deck, if it does have a weakness, it's maybe opponent's neutral cards. It doesn't have a way to negate opponent's neutral cards. So their artifacts and their souls could potentially cause me problems. And defenses aren't really meant, my defense can't really interact with their artifacts and their lost souls per se. So I did have a Salty out. So Flooded Red tried to play a Lost Child Found to bounce, but instead that Lost Child Found was prevented. He was really trying to hope to bounce my fear has fallen, I think, but not today. All right, here comes a Peter. And so I'm thinking of, they have a crowds out and they have a Herod's temple out. So if I'm able to get rid of their angel in their territory, I can block with Goliath and their hands protected and their territory is protected. So basically I get to withdraw Peter, and that's a CBN block. Only if I get rid of this Angel of the Winds here. So unfortunately, I won't be able to do the save it for like an add to battle if they tried to Authority of Christ me or whatever. But this felt like a pretty good block. They did have one of the only things that could get them out of this. They had the Ride On, which allowed them to add a Meek Matthew to battle. And then they had the Authority of Christ. So I have a color guard, which will protect humans in my territory. So those guys will come back. But yeah, it's unfortunate they had Ride On plus Authority, because I think I could have blocked anything else. But yeah, so they get the soul here. Not much I could do about that. I could have tried to hold on to my Warrior Overtaken, but I decided to go for it. So anyways, we get to do our trick with the Imitate on the Lawless, grab an Add to Battle Dominant, which is good when your opponent is trying to choose your guys' blockers. And I have another, so opponent had given me an undesirable, so I had to skip my turn there. So I have to skip my rescue. So I have to pass back to the opponent, trying to get my hand down for humble by putting my evil characters down. And they're protected because I have color guards. Feels nice to have a unity defense, so you can play cards like Color Guard and feel great about it. So yeah, we have a lot of blocking options. We have Philistine Armor Bearer, which can get my Goliath back. We have a Sisera, although we don't have any CBN battle winners for Sisera. Basically, we're just trying to get rid of Sisera. We can, if the opponent attacks, we can use a relatives to bounce Sisera and then give it to their opponent's territory. Really sweet. All right, the opponent is thinking here. I know it's not an easy thing to think about how you might want to attack into this Lost Soul defense. What defense am I running? I'm running Lost Souls. Okay, Meek Matthew's coming in. I gotta figure out what are my best blocks here. I know that they have a Herod's Temple and they have the crowds again. So I think the same block as last turn will work, because their hand's protected and the territory's protected. So now they have to withdraw Matthew CBN, and I don't have to worry about Ride On this time. So all right, here's my turn. Let's do Imitate on a Lawless again. Get to grab the Gibeonite's Trickery is really good. If at any moment they give me initiative, then I get to play that and in the battle and stalemate. Then we get to take an extra Daniel from reserve just in case they kill mine. Put down a Sheol. Now we're ready to battle again. So here's a mistake you can make with this deck. If you do Daniel, Abandon the Servants, and draw 2 cards, and you forget to bounce the Servants, you don't get to do the Daniel trick, because you have to bounce and then you have to draw. So because I did the draw before the bounce, I can't. I just let them Foreign Wives block me. And then I basically just punted that turn on a mistake. But this is the first time I'm playing this deck in a tournament or against somebody. So I'm glad I'm making that mistake now as opposed to later. All right, the opponent's turn. What are they going to do against my Doubt, Christian Martyr, Sheol blocks? The Canaanites are really strong in 100 card decks, 150 card decks. Just been impressed with their strength. In black in general, the card quality is really deep. Like, this defense has so many things going on. You have the Restrict Dominance from the Greeks. You have the Goliath. You have the Herdsman. You have the Temple Guard. And you have all the Canaanite shenanigans too. You have Concealed Canaanites like attacking their territory. This defense just really puts the pressure on you. All right, during opponent's upkeep, they played a 3 woes to negate my Salty and my Color Guard. Let's see what they're able to do now. They're taking a while here. It's a complicated board state, so we will be fine with letting him do this. And I think technically Lackey Grand Prix, they don't enforce the 30-second phase rule. Like in normal redemption tournaments, you have 30 seconds per phase. So like during your prep phase, you have 30 seconds and you have to go to battle. But yeah, during Lackey Grand Prix, I don't think we care so much about that, and more of just focusing on the 15-minute time limit. So they're really trying to get their hand size down by placing a Possessing Spirit in their territory, which is crazy. And then let's see, it's been almost like 3 minutes here, waiting for them to think about their attack here. And we're waiting. Here's the Life Through Christ. Getting Simon the Zealous here. So let's see. I'm not sure why they didn't. Am I missing something? Oh, because Fear's Fallen, and that was negating Simon, I think. And they weren't able to get the Humble up in time, maybe. Maybe that's the thought. Anyways, a Meek Simon's coming in. He's protected from harm. Let's see. We'll go Concealed Canaanites, take their woes, and then he's going to play a Resurrection mid-battle. And he's going to band in a John, Mary, and toss the next, and then negate non-empty tomb stuff. I think that's working because his humble's online now. All right, so I have to think about what I want to do. Next is getting tossed. So I think I'm just going to toss Not Among You for 1. And then since Simon's protected, I can't really do Abandonment, but I think I could just do Gibeonite Trickery here. So unless they have a Dominant or something. He played a Glory of the Lord, which will restrict us from playing Dominance now, or restrict us from playing enhancements. So I'm going to use my shield. I'm going to discard it and banish something from my discard pile to add a Black Brigade character to battle. So I have to figure out what I want to do here. Probably just Goliath, or I guess I didn't want to add Crafty Gibeonites because he was negating evil cards and I didn't have a humble. So Goliath would kick their guys out of battle and just leave Simon in battle. I think Simon would have died by numbers there. Okay, I'm upkeep. I'm going to imitate my Lawless, grab another battle-winning dominant. Because they don't have cards that restrict dominance, these blocks are pretty free for me. So yeah, if I didn't punt that last attack there, I would have had 2 Lost Souls now. Now we have the combo with Water from the Lord and Sisera. We get to draw 3 cards. But they have a Murder's Command to add their foreign wives to battle. So if I was trying to play around that, I could have played Angel of the Lord on their foreign wives before blocks. So we're still at 1 Lost Soul, and they're still at 1 Lost Soul, and it's a slow game, but the longer this game goes on, the weaker their offense gets, and the stronger my defense gets. And it doesn't seem like they have a lot of answers for Daniel either. So this version of the deck, I was running Daniel's Guardian instead of Great White Throne, but I kind of reasoned like Great White Throne can turn into Woman with Child late game, and Daniel's Guardian can only get Daniel. So I wanted something that was a little bit more flexible, also repeatable, because Daniel will die a bunch in this deck, and so just being able to get to Daniel every turn if you need to with Great White Throne could be nice. All right, Son of God's Second Coming in, taking out my Salty and a Color Guard. But now we have our trusty safety blanket of Guardians active. Guardians will convert abilities on heroes, so if they try to convert their heroes to Meek, Guardian's going to prevent them from doing that. When they attacked me last turn with the Resurrection, they banded. I think they searched their deck, so I think I could have got a dual trigger there if I wanted it. Being able to have a Deceiver in my hand is nice. So they tried to attack with the Simon, tried to convert it to Meek, but I had the Guardian. So instead we're just going to do Concealed Canaanites, just pick off that Sent 2x2, and I'm not super scared about any enhancements that they play here. I can always just interrupt the battle and end the battle and stalemate. So that's the thing about the Canaanites, man. Each block that you're just getting stronger and stronger, eroding the opponent's resources, making them run out of answers. All right. So I did that thing again. I made the same mistake where I attacked with Daniel and I chose to draw 2 before blocking. So I had to burn my angel on the Foreign Wives because that was just a block right there. So they have a Dreaming Pharaoh, which is protected from Daniel. So I'm gonna have to play with 3 woes to negate Dreaming Pharaoh and hope they don't have anything else. This all would have been avoided if I didn't mess up again, so I don't think I'll be making that mistake a 3rd time in my career. And we're getting to the point where we're running out of space on our board, so we have to discard things, we have to put characters down in weird spots. These are good problems to have. We have so many blocks available to us now. So let's see, if I hadn't punted I think I punted away maybe 2 rescues, or no, maybe I punted away 1, and it could have maybe played better. So if I play perfectly, I think I have maybe 4 Lost Souls here. All right, so Mary Holy Virgin coming in. What do I want to do about Mary Holy Virgin? Is she protected somehow? I don't know. If she wasn't protected, I could have gone like Crafty Gibeonites, get Lot's wife banned to Zebul, convert Mary to, Blue Brigade. But I think I just blocked with Concealed Canaanites and just forced labor the Mary. I'm just trying to finish out this game. I could have blocked the Mary a bunch of different ways, but Daniel choosing Possessing Spirit is very strong. So now we're up to 3 Lost Souls. We haven't played Son of God's Second Coming, so if I can get to those, then we're in pretty good shape here. Opponent has played their Son of God's Second Coming, so they have to rescue 2 Lost Souls the hard way. That seems hard to do unless they have some sort of protection, and they have to get through a Wicked. So even if they do have protection, I have Wicked and I have another Gibeonite treaty, and I always could try to beat them by numbers or defend by numbers, and I can do like Arba. I can just do this big Canaanite band topped by Arba. So let's see, a Meek Joanna. What's the best way we want to take out a Meek Joanna? I'll just continue chipping away their territory here. I think if I wanted, let's see, what is Joanna? 4, 5? What's Joanna's attack? I think she's a 5 something. Anyways, so she has initiative. She used Spirit as a Dove. Now I'm able to use Forced Labor as a dominant to activate Abomination of Desolation, which will put them in special initiative. And I don't think Clay has a lot of cards that negate neutral cards, so that's going to kill her straight up. All right, and then it's our turn here. Let's see. I do have a way to get to my Woman of Child from my discard pile. Let's do the Daniel draw to choose Sisera as a blocker. Let's try to get another soul. So they'll die by mutual destruction, and then I can do Crouch Choice to get Son of God and get the 5th lost soul. So the game will end 5-3 here. So yeah, punted a couple of attacks there. Maybe could have got the victory sooner, but the defense felt really strong. I was able to fend off disciples. The only disciple rescue we let through was the one where they had Ride-On plus Authority, and that's fair. Like most defenses in the game aren't going to be able to block Ride-On plus Authority. But this deck certainly has the options where we have all these add to battle dominance. So thanks for watching this gameplay. Thanks for watching me talk about this deck. I'm excited to keep working on it, but I'll see you guys next time.